You're listening to the Law Dad Roy podcast with your host, Roy Willie, a Charleston-based personal injury lawyer licensed in multiple states. From courtrooms to the coast, Roy brings you legal insights, real stories, and honest conversations that matter.
Thanks everyone for tuning in to the Law Dad Roy podcast. We are here today with an exciting guest. I'm so excited to talk with Courtney Boyes about her business, which is First Light Art Wellness, and also the work that she does with Warrior Surf. There are a lot of parallels between people that go through trauma and end up being served by Warrior Surf, obviously, and our clients that go through a very different kind of trauma, but trauma that affects the brain in much the same way. So we're going to spend some time talking about that. Courtney, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome. We were catching up a little bit before. You are a surfer.
I am.
Yeah, and so tell everybody just a little bit about you. Where are you from? How did you get here? If you weren't born here, how did you pick up surfing? Just take us through a snapshot of Courtney.
Well, I'm originally from Long Beach, New York.
Yeah.
And I grew up surfing, so I've been surfing my whole life.
Awesome.
My grandparents lived in Hilton Head, so I kind of grew up in between because my mom was a single mom and kind of lived in both places, but was just so drawn here after COVID and working remote. And we moved here like 2021.
Okay,
yeah.
Awesome. And so you've been here for a few years now. Where around Charleston do you live?
So we're in Somerville.
Okay.
For now.
Yeah. So a little bit of a drive to go surfing.
It's a little bit of a drive, but it is beautiful and sort of meditative to drive down Ashley River Road and pass all the plantations.
Yeah.
And helps like decompress before I get in the ocean.
Yeah, so your business, is that something that you were doing in New York, or did you start that when you moved here?
So First Light Art and Wellness, I started here last year, but before that I was, I did have private practice.
Right.
It was just framed a little bit differently than it is now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about what do you do? What is First Light Art and Wellness, and what services do you provide?
So I'm an art therapist and a holistic health coach and a blue mine and ocean therapist.
Yeah, a lot of acronyms after the name.
A lot of things there. So art therapy is a form of psychotherapy that you use nonverbal means, art, dance, and music. And I like to tie in surfing also to kind of like help whatever you've compartmentalized or pushed back. It usually comes out through those means instead of talking. Sometimes it doesn't come out right away.
How does that look like when a client comes in? I would assume there's like some sort of like initial consultation, and you learn a little bit about them. How do you design like a program like for a client?
It's usually intuitively. I will have an intake, which will be our first session, and then we'll go over what they want from the session, and the second session after that will kind of more be like pairing with the client and really like getting a feel of what they're comfortable with doing and what feels challenging and what helps them flow.
So when they start this process, you obviously, really nothing about them other than what you have on the intake. They don't know a lot about you. Are your clients generally people that are seeking this type of therapy, or are they people that are more just looking for a therapist and they find you and that's, those are the services you provide? How does that look?
Most of my clients have been in some sort of therapy before, and they've heard of art therapy. It's kind of new in the Low Country.
Yeah.
It's more common up north in New York, so people knew more about it.
Yeah.
But mostly down here, it's people who have tried things that haven't worked for them.
Right.
And maybe they're not as good at talking, or maybe they have had some sort of trauma or injury and have compartmentalized whatever experience that is, and they need something to help them heal. They feel that.
That's interesting. And so in the sessions, like, what are you doing? Like, what is it? I'm sure that no two sessions are exactly the same, but like, what does a general session, look like?
So usually I start with a blue mind or ocean therapy based meditation.
Okay, tell me about that. I don't know the Blue Mind.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
So Blue Mind is basically like coming back to like a peaceful state of mind. So
Okay.
when you look at the color blue, when you look at water, when you're near water, it helps to clear your mind, just from science.
Yeah.
My Blue Mind meditation usually goes through like a healing wave, and it cleanses through your body and it grounds you back into the earth. So we start with that each session to kind of like reset.
Yeah.
And then I'll create a playlist intuitively based on the person. And we will come up with a directive and something that is tailored to that person and move through that session. Then like 45 minutes in, we will like wrap it up and have a discussion about it. And I'll look at like different symbolism that comes up, or like what colors they used, how big they drew or painted things,
right.
if they had difficulty actually moving.
So this is interesting. So we come in, we get centered, and then we're doing, like, have you already decided what the art expression that is going to take place in that session is?
So depending on the diagnosis that they come to me with,
right.
or like what their needs are through the intake, and we'll just continually like modify it based on what they need.
Yeah, that's interesting. So sort of getting the picture, are you creating art with them, or are they creating art and you're more observing and talking to them?
I usually make art with them.
Okay.
It's not specifically the directive. I'll just kind of doodle along with them and kind of feel what they're going through and check in occasionally, but model so that it's not like you're not on the spot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I've like had a therapy, like gone to tradition, I guess what you would consider traditional therapy,
mm-hmm.
like, you know, there's a chair and there's a couch and like there's a conversation.
Right.
And, you know, you have to be obviously in a certain like state of mind when you're going through like talking to, especially initially at least, like a complete stranger about whatever, you know? And so I like this concept though of like art. It seems like it would be for somebody that is more compartmental, like I'm a very compartmental person.
Yeah.
You know, everything's in its room and we can go visit it when we need to, sort of deal. It seems like this would be a much more like free-flowing, organic way to like get to some of those truths.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And different mediums also can bring out different emotions. So trauma is stored in your body.
Right.
And when you are injured too, like you're holding on to that.
Right.
This kind of helps, like using oil pastels, for instance, and the resistance on paper, but then like the flow of it, because it could be smooth after you like smooth it out with your finger, that can help bring out things that are stored in your body somatically.
Wow, that's really cool. I never thought of that, honestly. Like, it's just not something that has ever occurred to me. So when people, obviously they're coming to you, they have some sort of, some sort of trauma. This might be kind of a silly question, but are they more like I have no artistic ability at all. Let's just be really clear. Like, if I went through one of these sessions, like, good luck figuring out whatever I drew or painted, much less what I was thinking. Like, are they generally more artistic people or not?
No.
No. Okay.
So a lot of them just want to kind of explore.
Yeah.
And it's more like I try to encourage everyone that it's more about the process than the product. You don't have to have skill at all. It's about how it feels. Yeah. And what helps you release, what helps you cope.
In your Blue Mind and
Ocean therapy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's obviously the ocean aspect of that is really just looking at water, being calm. And it does, right? Like, mm-hmm. Everyone knows that. If you're sitting on a dock or you go to the beach, like you do feel more calm, mm-hmm. just naturally, right? There is some connection there, obviously. And I don't know all the science behind it. Obviously you do. That's why you do what you do and I do what I do. But it seems that type of therapy, that really spans different types of trauma. So I know you do a lot of work with Warrior Surf, and tell everybody a little bit about Warrior Surf if they're not familiar with it.
So Warrior Surf Foundation is a foundation for veterans and active duty members and their family and spouses. It's a surf therapy, yoga, and wellness coaching program, and I started with wellness coaching and am running art therapy sessions now.
How do people get into Warrior Surf Foundation? Like, what does their intake kind of look like?
You have to have a DD-214 and have
what is that?
Served in some way.
What is
so
that?
it's just the official document that says that you served in the U.S. military, whatever branch for however long.
Okay. Yeah. And it's active or inactive?
It has to be active duty that you have to...
That you had to do active duty, but you don't have to actively be serving?
No. Yes. Like, we have some people in the reserves or National Guard also, but they've done like a little bit of active duty.
Yeah, and so what type of diagnoses are you seeing like come through that program?
A lot of anxiety for the most part, especially lately.
Yeah.
PTSD. A lot of folks who join the military actually have trauma before they join, and that's why they've joined.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so not that different really from injury victims. Like, we have, people that are in significant, truck wrecks or motorcycle crashes, or, are just even at a store and a shelf falls on them. Like, it's not just the medical treatment. A lot of people think about that, but it's, it's every time you get in the car, right? Or it's every time you go into, a store looking to see, is everything on the shelf the way it's supposed to be? And it's that trauma that I think a lot of times we take it for granted, and we just say, well, that's normal because that happened to you, so of course, you're going to have that. But you don't have to, right? You don't have to take it with you. And so what are these warriors, these former active duty or current active duty, I guess, folks, how are they working through things through surfing? Because I think a lot of people, at least me, before I really learned about Warrior Surf, and I'm learning obviously more about therapy in general from you, but you see that and you're like, well, yeah, of course surfing's fun. Mm-hmm. Like, anyone would like to go surfing, that's cool. But how does it actually help with the trauma, with the issues?
So with resiliency specifically, and also the ocean is unpredictable.
Right.
And you can't control it at all.
Right.
So you can control how you react in the ocean. You can control how you surf on the waves.
Yeah.
But you can't control what she brings.
If I'm understanding what you're saying, using the ocean and working through what the ocean is doing and how you're reacting models for you how to do that in real life, in your thoughts and in your day-to-day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't, to be safe in the ocean too, you can't be paying attention to everything else.
Right.
You really have to be in that moment. So there's that mindfulness aspect also.
Yeah. And it's fascinating, when you look at something that most people are like, oh, that's a fun activity that people do, and you frame it that way. And there's so many things like that. My mother-in-law sent me, all these screenshots of this thing, but it was basically the advantages of play wrestling with your kids, because they learn the difference between safety and danger and where the limits are, and there's so many lessons tied up in all sorts of physical activities that you do because it's what you do, but most people don't spend a lot of time thinking about that.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. What does so Warrior Surf, tell for anyone listening that might be interested in finding out more about that specifically, how do you get in touch with that aspect of your life if there are people that think they can be served through that?
We're actually reaching the end of our season this year.
Okay.
Our last cohort graduates in November. But then in March, everything starts up again. But you can apply online.
Yeah.
And as long as you fit the requirements, you're usually accepted into the program.
Interesting. And obviously in the meantime, they can seek you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
First Light Art and Wellness, always here. And you mentioned that you incorporate, surfing sometimes as part of that art therapy as well, even for people that are not, military.
Oh yeah. Surfing is such a beautiful metaphor for like that which we can't control.
Yeah.
So I like to use it and embed it in everything. And it's helped me so much through grief, through trauma, that I just like to pay it forward and use that.
Yeah, it's amazing. So when you, how long have you been a therapist?
Since 2018.
Okay. And did you always sort of have this vision that you would be specifically in this area of therapy, or how did, like, it's so fascinating to me that this is like a thing.
Yeah.
But when you actually understand how the mind works and how trauma works and how the body works, like, it makes perfect sense. Like, it seems to me that it would be like, in general, probably like way more effective than sitting on a couch in a chair and like trying to get to know somebody once a week.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you find it? Like, what's your backstory?
So I found it, I originally went to school and got my bachelor's in art education.
Okay.
And I mean, at the risk of going off on a tangent, I'll keep it short. I didn't love how the school system was run.
Sure.
And I really liked working individually with the students.
Right.
And I worked in a really challenging school district where there were like 14-year-olds who were parents already.
Yeah.
There were gang members. It was a really rough school district. So from that, I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to do this, because I don't think any of these kids are getting the help that they need.
Right.
And I don't know, even though you do make ripples by being in that environment regardless,
Right.
it wasn't, I couldn't do the meaningful work that I wanted to do.
Right.
So after that, I actually met with a psychologist I got my bachelor's at Adelphi University,
Mm-hmm.
and she discussed with me art therapy. And I was like so intrigued, put it on the back burner for a little while, had my first daughter, and then went back for art therapy for my master's. After taking group therapy, we learned about veterans in art therapy and like what could be brought through with art that other means don't really do anything or touch it.
Right.
And what is stored in the body. And I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's fascinating. So a lot of our clients, when they are injured, some of them have private health insurance, some of them have Medicare, some of them have Medicaid. Is art therapy like a covered treatment?
So no.
No, okay.
Yeah, not right now.
Yeah. So it's private pay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, largely?
Largely private pay.
Yeah.
Hopefully not forever.
Yeah.
I know that there's some legislation in New York going on to push it to be covered by health insurance, but right now
it's not.
Yeah.
And so how do people find you? How do they find First Light Art and Wellness? Other than obviously you can click the link if you're watching online, and we'll have it in the bio, but how do they find it if they're just listening in their car?
I'm on Psychology Today, and also my Instagram.
Yeah, what's your Instagram
My
handle?
Instagram is First Light Art Wellness.
Okay, that's easy.
Yeah.
First Light Art Wellness. It's really interesting to me that there's a perception of art in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like who we think of as like artists, kind of these like free-flowing,
Mm-hmm.
spirits, and then you think of like, okay, active duty warriors, like, very, serious, like literally battle-hardened type, but the way that you blend, these two worlds, like, because trauma is trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the lesson. And no matter whether it's car wreck trauma or whether it's trauma from, riding around in a tank and, being shot at, the body handles it similarly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I don't know. I think it's been a fascinating conversation. So thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks everyone for listening to the Law Dad Roy podcast. It's been great being with Courtney Boyes today. Check her out at First Light Art Wellness on Instagram, or you can click the link down below and tune in next week. We'll have another great episode for you.